Chances are, if you're watching this DVD right now, you're thinking of selling now or sometime soon. You've got some important choices to make before you even get on the market. Choices that can literally reap you or cost you thousands of dollars. Hopefully over the course of the next 15 minutes or so, we'll be able to give you some important information that will help you make a better choice. There's basically no more important decision you'll make in this whole process than getting the price right. This is the one thing, above all else, that can stop your property from selling, cost you money and cause you stress. Now, some people who make mistakes on pricing, it's because of greed, but for most, it's just a lack of information. What most sellers want to achieve is getting the best possible balance between the highest price in a reasonable amount of time. You don't necessarily want to sell tomorrow at any price, but you don't want to wait months and months just to squeeze that last couple of $1,000s either. You must use the recent sale price of nearby comparable properties in assessing the true value of your property and set your asking price accordingly. Your agent should be able to show you the reasons why they are estimating the price for your property by showing you pictures, descriptions and actual selling prices of properties in your area. They should also be able to advise on a suitable asking price to achieve the best result for you. I keep statistics on the difference between the asking price at the time of sale and the actual sale price. This can vary from time to time and across different markets. Ask your agent what the figure is in your area. One of the reasons that asking price is so critical is that initial period your house goes on the market is often crucial to the quality of the result you will achieve. When you first come onto the market, you're one of only a few houses coming on the market in your price range in your area over the next few weeks. You immediately come to the attention of that pool of buyers who've been looking for a while. If you get the price wrong, they know it, and they'll often make a decision to not even look. As time goes on, you start blending in with all the other houses as they come onto the market, and the buyers in the buyer pool, they either buy or they stop looking, and they're replaced by new buyers who are not ready to make a decision yet. Hopefully, you can now see how critical those first few weeks are. Now that you've worked out a realistic price range for the property, the next thing you'll need to decide is which method of sale will get you the best result. Now, there's several different methods available, but we'll concentrate on the two best known, which are auction and private treaty. The first thing I want to stress is there's advantages and disadvantages to both methods. I just want you to have enough information that you can make an informed choice on which one will suit you best. Now, the first of those is private treaty. That involves setting an asking price and inviting offers. Of course, the price you do set effectively becomes your maximum, and buyers will make offers below this. The majority of sellers prefer this method of sale because they feel more in control. Now, this is mostly okay if the price is realistically set, but can have dire consequences if it's just a few percentage points too high. This method of sale most often suits people who would like to sell but don't have a set time frame. Many sellers can be negative about selling by auction, quite often for the wrong reasons. We'll hear them say things like, "Oh, auctions don't work, only 60% of them are selling," or some other figure they've got from the Sunday papers. What we really need to do is have a look at what that figure represents and then compare apples with apples. What it's saying is of all the people who chose to put their property for auction 4 or 5 weeks earlier, 60%, or whatever the figure is, have now sold unconditionally for a price they're happy with. Now, if we look at the figure for all the people who've put their property for sale 4 or 5 weeks earlier, we'll always find that the percentage there that have sold unconditionally in any market at any time will always be lower. Compared to the earlier diagram showing a typical for sale, an auction tends to go more like this. Of course, this is relative to where the reserve price is set in the first place. However, auctions have several other advantages of selling over fixed price. You get to hear the opinion of buyers before setting your price. This way, you can avoid setting the price too high or too low. It targets serious buyers because they know you're serious. And auctions set a deadline. Buyers have to make a decision or risk missing out. There is no maximum to the price buyers can pay. Don't get me wrong though, if an auction is handled poorly, it can have an adverse effect on the results that you'll achieve, in much the same way as a private treaty sale handled poorly can also lead to a poor result. As I said earlier, what I really want is for you to have enough information to make an informed choice on what will suit you best. Now you've probably still got questions on auctions, so I've included a frequently asked question list at the end of this DVD. Most of your questions should be answered there.
Buying a home is an emotional process, and to maximise buyers' emotions will ultimately lead to a better price. Appeal to their senses, their sight, sound, smell. You want buyers to feel themselves living in your home and enjoying it. Be prepared to get some tough love from your agent. Some agents may be fearful of pointing out problem areas for fear of offending you and not getting the listing, but you need to choose an agent who can point out areas of your presentation that, if improved, could potentially add thousands to your sale price. Quite often, it's the little things you overlook because you live there every day. You don't even notice them until someone points them out. Things like cracks in the walls or dusty light covers. Take a good look at each room and eliminate items you're not likely to need over the coming months until you move. Empty boxes, out of season clothes, kids' toys, extra knickknacks on shelves. I'm not about to tell you to put on a loaf of bread or a pot of coffee every time an agent tells you they're on their way, but I do want you to be mindful of smells that are in your house that you may not even notice. These things can be off-putting to buyers. Pet smells, cooking smells, musty smells. Flowers are a no-brainer as well. They add colour, look good, and smell nice to boot. But my general advice is if you're going to paint every room. If you just paint one room or ceiling, buyers may feel you've got something to hide. I've seen lots of cases where a ceiling is stained from a roof leak, the owners assure us the leak is fixed, but the buyers don't see it like that. If it's fixed, finish the job and paint it. But a splash of colour on a wall often adds that wow factor. Emotions play such a big part in the buying process. There's other ways to add colour though. Flowers, bright cushions, a rug, all relatively inexpensive. This area is very important. Open all the blinds, turn on all the lights. Not just in the room where it's a little dark, but all of them. Turning on lights in only one room emphasises that room is dark. You want your home to appeal to the buyer's emotions, so make it warm and inviting if selling in winter or cool and refreshing in summer. Finally, freshen everything up with a good clean. Carpets, floors. If you're not painting, just wash the marks off the walls. Keep kitchens, bathrooms and laundries all sparkling. Dishes away, fresh towels in the bathroom and window screens cleaned inside and out. You don't need to go overboard with the landscaping, just keep everything neat and trim. Clean cut edges look great. Keep leaves away too. If buyers walk out and see leaves, they're also going to see their weekends disappearing behind a rake.
As a general rule, I say no to major renovations. Most of the things outlined here can be taken care of in a weekend or two for very little cost. Just a little bit of elbow grease.
But the impact, it can be huge.
There's an old saying that you can't sell a secret, and quite often selling your property comes down to a numbers game. The more people who know your property is for sale, the better chance you've got of getting top dollar.
Your agent should be able to show you figures indicating where the buyers are coming from in your particular area. Have a look at these figures and then decide to concentrate on the top few. Most agents will have a basic package which will get you some amount of exposure at little or no cost. The general rule here is to keep the ads clean and uncluttered, much like your house. Sometimes less is more. Remember, the whole idea is only to generate an inquiry or inspection. No property marketing is complete without the internet. Our figures are showing that in excess of 50% of all inquiries are coming from the net. But you need to ask on what sites your property will be listed. What is essential is that you're placed on the major portals. These are the sites where all the agents add their listings, sort of like a one-stop shop for buyers. Realestate.com.au and domain.com.au are the two main ones, and then depending on your area, there may be some others that your agent can tell you about. Get as many photos on there as you can and discuss with your agent extras such as a virtual tour, a video, a floor plan and mapping. Do you need a signboard? We call these the 24-hour salesperson, and it may be the most cost-effective form of marketing. Most agents offer a standard board as part of a basic package, but consider a professionally done board with description and photos.
Beware of blindly trusting the agent who says he's got a buyer waiting. all agents have buyers on their books, but a good marketing program will ensure that all buyers in the marketplace know your property is available, not just the agent's favourite buyers. One big mistake I see people make when choosing the agent is choosing the agent based on whoever gives them the highest price, the lowest fees, or a combination of both. Quite often you could end up with the biggest liar and the worst negotiator. Another mistake I see people make is choosing the agent they bought through as some sort of reward for them getting the property cheaply for them. Now, I've bought several properties where I would have paid thousands of dollars more, but I was just never asked. Now, I had no problem buying with those agents, but I'd never choose them to sell. A good trick is to inquire about properties for sale with an agent you are considering and see how they respond. Ask questions like, what would they take? What offers have they had so far? Now, if you hear any figure other than the asking price, stay away. Those agents will cost you money. Don't worry about the agent being a franchise or independent. One name could have great operators in one area, but not in yours. Remember, it's all about the people. One area I see people make the biggest mistake on choosing their agent is on fees. Remember, 0.5% on $500,000 is only $2,500. A bad agent, or even worse, a bad agent who's a bad negotiator, can cost you more than that in a heartbeat. You need to choose an agent with a demonstrated ability to negotiate. Now, one of the best ways they can show you their skills in this area is how they negotiate their fees. If they give in too quickly, be careful. Remember, it's not necessarily how much you pay, it's how much you're left with that's important. Now, because real estate's a people business, an agent's personal presentation, punctuality and phone manner are also important. Now, compared with the other things like getting the right price or choosing the method of sale, these are relatively minor things, but they do go towards showing an agent's overall professionalism. In the download section, you'll find a list of questions to ask an agent when you meet them. It's important to enter this whole process with a very clear picture of the end result in mind. I've seen many people get caught up in the whole buying and selling process only to come out the other end very disappointed with what they've achieved. Often this is because they've underestimated the costs involved. The transaction costs are split between the initial cost of legal fees and marketing. The other fees, generally payable on settlement, are the agent's fees and commission. If you're selling an investment property, you'll need to be mindful of any capital gains tax payable, so it pays to speak to your accountant and get an estimate on what you're dealing with. If you're buying elsewhere, factor in more conveyancing fees, probably some bank fees, and the big one, stamp duty. Now, the rates vary from state to state, so we've included a calculator in the download section. Ask your agent to provide you with an accurate cost estimate based on your circumstances. As with any transaction, I suggest overestimating what's going out and underestimating what's coming in. If the numbers work out, great, go ahead. Once you're comfortable with all the issues we've covered here so far, your final question will most likely be one I've heard hundreds, if not thousands of times. When is the right time to sell? Well, the right time to sell is when you're ready. It's got nothing to do with the seasons, holidays, none of those things matter. Buyers are ready to buy all throughout the year. Finally, choose an agent you can trust. You will need to sign an agreement with them, setting out price, fees, and other details. You will still have some questions, so I've included a frequently asked question list at the end of this DVD. Check there first. If you've still got some questions, I'd suggest jotting them down in a notebook. You're going to forget more questions than you remember to ask, but every question you do get to ask is going to help you make some better choices. Best of luck.